When Harry and Meghan announced they were stepping back from royal life, the palace wasn't prepared, because it hadn't been warned. The statement was already written, reviewed by lawyers, and released on their terms, with no consultation and no approval. It was polished, intentional, and framed as a quiet transition. But it wasn't quiet, and it wasn't just a step back. It was a challenge. The Queen called for an emergency meeting at Sandringham. Meghan stayed in Canada. She was expected to join by phone. The Queen said no dial-ins, no special arrangements, no negotiation by remote. Because what Harry and Meghan were proposing wasn't an exit. It was a rebrand, with royal status, full security, and the freedom to come and go as global figures on their own terms. But the monarchy doesn't operate on flexibility. It operates on precedent. And what they were asking for wasn't compromise. It was control. The Queen said no. And in that moment, the fracture began. According to royal biographer Tom Bower, the Sandringham summit wasn't a negotiation. It was a verdict. The Queen had made her position known before anyone stepped into the room. No hybrid roles, no public funding without full-time duty. If they wanted out, they could go. But they would leave the institution behind, without rank, without duty, and without the privileges they once held. The door was never slammed, but it wasn't left open either. And from that moment, this wasn't about stepping back. It was about taking control. Before she married into the royal family, Meghan Markle was a supporting actress on a basic cable drama, largely unknown outside a niche audience. But within months of her engagement, she was elevated to global status, dressed in couture, photographed like a queen, and positioned by the press and by herself as the future of the monarchy. What she gained from the institution was immediate, but what she imagined was something bigger. Meghan didn't just want to be part of the royal family. She wanted to reshape it, to modernize it, to build something newer, louder, and more influential. And when the institution said no, she didn't step away quietly. She stepped into something else entirely. They didn't respond to the Crown's boundary with silence. They responded with content. There was an interview, then a Netflix deal, then a memoir, each one branded, edited, and perfectly positioned to control the story before the institution could speak. They wanted to own the narrative, to shift the blame, to present themselves not as royals who left, but as survivors who escaped. What they lost in titles, they replaced with control. The monarchy, bound by discipline, didn't retaliate, but the strategy was already unfolding. They believed they could separate the attention from the institution, that they could take the spotlight without the structure, keep the titles without the obligations, and hold the audience without the responsibility. But the royal brand doesn't follow individuals, it follows loyalty, and once they walked away, the Crown didn't chase them. It simply stopped speaking. So they turned to the only thing left, control of the narrative. They made their story the product, turned grievance into a platform, and repackaged silence as oppression. But this wasn't just a documentary or a memoir or a podcast. It was a campaign, measured, intentional, and global. And it wasn't about leaving the monarchy behind. It was about trying to outshine it. What started as a departure became a strategy. A carefully managed transformation from duty into influence, from legacy into content. But this is only the beginning, because what came next wasn't retreat. It was rollout. And the campaign had a face, a voice, a name. If you've made it this far, you're already part of the series. This isn't commentary. It's a chronicle. Royal power, modern media, and the fracture that still echoes today. So subscribe if you haven't already, because this series is only getting deeper and you won't want to miss what comes next. Think of it as your podcast, the one you play while the world outside feels louder than ever. Here, the noise stops and the story begins.